Have you ever noticed how harmless online shopping feels? You scroll, you shop, you add everyday essentials to your cart, completely unaware of the dark corner of the retail landscape hiding right under your nose. Because buried deep between standard phone chargers and kitchen gadgets on Amazon sits a terrifying class of unrestricted, high-energy weaponry capable of causing absolute devastation without using a single grain of gunpowder. That is exactly why this countdown is going to completely shatter your perspective on everyday safety, as we strip away the corporate marketing to expose the most lethal weapons hiding in plain sight on the world's biggest digital storefront. Stay locked into the tracking line with me, because once you see the raw mechanical stopping power, you can legally ship straight to your doorstep without an ammunition background check. Your entire definition of safe online shopping is about to change forever. Starting off at number 17, we look at a tactical PCP platform engineered around speed, handling, and portability, rather than raw big-bore power. This is the Evanix Viper. Weighing in at roughly 2.5 pounds, the Viper is an ultra-compact semi-automatic air pistol that can easily be configured into a lightweight carbine with an aftermarket stock. Available in .177, .22, and .25 calibers, it feeds from a low-profile rotary magazine and delivers rapid follow-up shots as fast as you can pull the trigger. Powered by a 3,625 pounds per square inch air reservoir, and equipped with a crisp single-action trigger, it can drive pellets at velocities approaching 900 feet per second in lighter calibers, making it a fast-handling option for small game, pest control, and dynamic target shooting. The trade-off is air capacity. Its compact reservoir is optimized for portability rather than endurance, providing roughly 10 to 15 useful shots before pressure begins to fall off. Push through magazines too quickly, and you will drain the system in short order, making a compressor or portable high-pressure tank highly desirable for extended shooting sessions. But for shooters who value mobility, rapid semi-automatic fire, and one of the most compact PCP platforms on the market, the Viper delivers a uniquely modern shooting experience. At number 16, we have the Precision Specialist. The Caliber Gun Cricket is a compact, Czech-built bullpup PCP, renowned for exceptional accuracy, the kind of rifle that can stack pellets into a single ragged hole at distance, thanks to its highly consistent regulated system and match-grade barrel design. Available in multiple calibers, including .22 and .30, it produces roughly 70 to 90 foot-pounds of energy in its larger setups, with velocities approaching the mid-900 feet per second range, depending on pellet weight. It feeds from a reliable rotary magazine and runs on a regulated high-pressure air system filled up to around 250 to 300 bars, delivering tight, shot-to-shot consistency that makes it a favorite among serious field shooters. Its biggest advantage is the bullpup layout, short overall length with a full-length barrel, giving it outstanding maneuverability in tight environments without sacrificing accuracy. Combined with a crisp, two-stage trigger, adjustable stock options, and a smooth side lever action, the Caliber Gun Cricket is built for precision over raw power, making it ideal for small to medium game and controlled pest management. At number 15, we have what many airgunners consider the most advanced production PCP ever built, the FX Impact M3. This is a fully modular bullpup platform engineered around one idea: absolute tunability. From its smooth Twist-X barrel system with interchangeable liners to its dual regulator setup, almost every part of this rifle can be fine-tuned to match the exact pellet or slug you are running. It feeds from a side-mounted magazine and cycles through a fast, smooth side lever action that keeps follow-up shots quick and controlled. In .30 caliber setups, it can push around 120 to 130 foot-pounds, while stepping up to .35 caliber configurations takes it well past 150 foot-pounds in high-power tuning, putting it firmly in serious big-game territory at ethical hunting distances. In lighter calibers and optimized settings, shooters can still stretch shot counts well beyond 60 to 80 consistent shots per fill. What truly separates the M3 is control. External regulators, power wheel adjustments, and a fully modular chassis with ARCA rail integration allow shooters to completely reshape the rifle's behavior in minutes. It is just as comfortable on a precision bench rest setup as it is in a backcountry hunting role. The honest catch is complexity. This is not a grab-and-shoot rifle. It demands tuning knowledge, patience, and understanding of airgun mechanics, and it sits at the very top of the price ladder. But for shooters who want total control over every aspect of performance, nothing else in production comes close. At number 14, we have a 2026 compact crossbow that blends extreme speed with surgical precision, the Raven R10X Pro. This is built around Raven's signature helicoil cam system, where the cables wrap in a helical pattern to keep everything perfectly balanced through the shot cycle. The result is a crossbow that stays incredibly narrow at just about 6.5 inches cocked, making it one of the most compact high-performance hunting platforms ever produced. It launches a 400-grain arrow at around 420 feet per second, generating roughly 156 to 169 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, more than enough for ethical big-game hunting inside typical field ranges. In real-world testing, its full-length rail system, refined trigger, and stabilized platform consistently produce sub-inch group accuracy at 50 yards when properly tuned. What makes it stand out is how effortless it feels to shoot. With its silent crank-style cocking system requiring only about 12 pounds of effort, it delivers extreme power without the physical strain normally associated with high-performance crossbows. The result is a platform that feels controlled, predictable, and built for precision under pressure. With a starting price of around $1,800, Raven R10X Pro is built for shooters who want total control over every aspect of performance, and nothing else in production comes close at this level of compact speed and precision. At number 13, we step into serious big-bore territory with a compact tactical platform built for raw impact, the Evanix Sniper K in .50 caliber. This is a carbine-length PCP big bore, designed around close to mid-range hunting power, feeding heavy half-inch slugs from a multi-shot magazine through a rifled barrel. In .50 caliber configuration, it typically runs around 5 to 6 shots per magazine, depending on pellet weight, delivering true big-game energy suited for hogs and deer-sized targets at responsible ranges. The advantage here is clear. Unlike traditional single-shot big bores, the Sniper K gives you rapid follow-up capability, which becomes critical in real field situations where one shot is not always enough. The platform is built on a side-lever PCP action with an unregulated power system, meaning velocity gradually drops as air pressure decreases through the shot string. That trade-off is typical in high-output big-bore rifles. You get strong initial power, but only a handful of full-performance shots per fill before pressure needs topping up. It also runs on a high-pressure reservoir that requires a proper compressor or fill system to keep it field-ready. Despite its compact size, it is not a lightweight platform. It carries real mass and recoil for an airgun, and it is designed to be controlled, not casually fired. The rifled barrel helps stabilize heavy slugs, giving it usable accuracy out to ethical hunting distances, rather than long-range precision shooting. With a starting price of around $1,000, the Evanix Sniper K is built for shooters who want fast-handling big-bore power in a tactical package. At number 12, we have the affordable entry point into modern air archery, the Umarex Air Javelin Pro. This is a PCP-powered arrow launcher, built as an upgrade to the original CO2 Air Javelin, and the switch to high-pressure air completely changes its consistency and performance. It runs on a compact onboard air tank that fills to 4,500 pounds per square inch, and is regulated down to 1,500 pounds per square inch, giving you stable, repeatable power shot after shot, instead of the temperature swings you get with CO2 systems. It launches a 170-grain arrow at around 370 feet per second, generating roughly 52 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. While that is far below heavy big-bore platforms, it is still enough for ethical close-range use on small to medium game, with proper shot placement and a suitable broadhead. In real terms, this sits in the serious entry hunting tier, not a toy class, but also not a long-range powerhouse. The biggest advantage is consistency. The regulator allows roughly 15 full-power shots and up to about 25 effective shots per fill before pressure drops, making it one of the most stable platforms in its category. It features a straight pull bolt action, a full-length Picatinny rail for optics, M-lock mounting slots for accessories, and a Foster Quick Connect fill system for easy refilling in the field. At around $300, the Air Javelin Pro stands out as one of the most accessible regulated air archery systems on the market, making it a true gateway platform for anyone stepping into aero-based air guns. Coming in at number 11, we have the Grimberg TYR Pro. This is a compact .68 caliber HPA-powered launcher built around a regulated high-pressure air system rather than CO2 cartridges. It runs on a small onboard HPA tank and delivers consistent semi-automatic style performance in a lightweight tactical chassis designed for close-range controlled use. It fires .68 caliber projectiles at roughly 250 to 300 feet per second, producing energy in the range of about 45 to 65 joules, depending on configuration and projectile type. That places it firmly in the less lethal impact category, designed for deterrence and controlled force applications rather than hunting or long-range shooting. The system feeds from a detachable magazine and is built around consistency and repeatable output rather than raw ballistic power. Its biggest advantage is regulated air delivery, which helps maintain stable performance across multiple shots, instead of the sharp drop-off seen in unregulated CO2 systems. The honest trade-offs are clear. It requires HPA equipment to operate. It is not a concealed or compact everyday carry platform, and it is designed strictly for structured, controlled environments, rather than field hunting or long-range use. At around $1,000 to $1,200, the Grimberg TYR Pro sits at the premium end of the less lethal launcher category, offering one of the more refined systems in its class. At number 10, we have the most refined version of the oldest weapon on the planet. The Matthews Lift is a groundbreaking aluminum flagship compound bow, engineered to compete directly with high-end carbon rigs, tipping the scales right at a blistering 4 pounds. Don't let the lightweight frame fool you. Its revolutionary switch-weight cam system stores immense energy on the draw and slams almost all of it back into the arrow on release. When tuned for heavy backcountry hunting, it drives a punishing carbon shaft downrange at well over 300 feet per second, unleashing upwards of 85 foot-pounds of raw kinetic energy. 85 foot-pounds doesn't sound like much next to the massive air rifles coming up on our list, but seasoned bow hunters routinely drop massive bull elk with this exact platform. That is because a razor-sharp broadhead on a heavy, stabilized arrow relies on pure structural penetration and hemorrhage to bleed an animal out. No hydrostatic shock required. The lift is also genuinely quiet, packing advanced limb and riser vibration damping that keeps the system dead in the hand and prevents game from string jumping the shot. The honest limit here is the shooter, not the bow. It demands hours of muscle memory practice, a strict 40 to 60 yard ethical range, and the absolute discipline to draw on a live animal without ever being busted. At number 9, we enter the deep with our list's true wild card, because lethal without gunpowder isn't just a dry land game. This is the Salvamar Predator Vuoto, a mechanical powerhouse that brings high-pressure pneumatic physics straight into open water. Unlike standard wet-barrel spear guns, the Vuoto features a proprietary vacuum-sealed muzzle that completely seals the barrel from water intrusion. This means the internal piston doesn't waste energy pushing heavy water out of the way. Instead, it dumps 100% of its stored pneumatic force directly into the heavy steel spear shaft, launching it with enough terminal velocity to punch clean through large pelagic fish. Underwater, where sound travels 4 times faster and game bolts instantly, this vacuum seal also deadens the acoustic report, keeping you completely ghost in the water column. The operational trade-off here is distinct. While its internal air chamber is completely sealed, meaning you never have to repump the gun after firing, manually muscle loading that heavy steel shaft back against the high-pressure piston inside a rocking swell demands serious physical stamina. The tethered shooting line is also a constant snag hazard, and salt water will systematically destroy the internal seals if you skip meticulous post-dive maintenance. But for harvesting heavy meat beneath the surface, using nothing but captive atmospheric pressure, it is a masterclass in aquatic engineering. At number 8, we have a compact big-bore tactical anomaly that behaves like a centerfire carbine. This is the Bintac T9, a fast-cycling, semi-automatic platform chambered in .357, delivering 9mm chunks of lead through an 8-round rotary magazine. Unlike single-shot platforms, the T9 utilizes a rugged blowback system. Pull the trigger, and it fires, indexes, and resets instantly, pushing heavy slugs up to 740 feet per second for over 100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy off a high-pressure 4,500 psi fill. That is serious close-range stopping power, packed into a maneuverable 6.5-pound folding stock backpack rifle that is perfect for predator control, dense brush scouting, or camp defense. The honest catch here is the inherent limitation of its compact air reservoir, because dumping 100 foot-pounds of energy in semi-auto drains a massive volume of air. You only get about 8 to 12 full-power regulated shots before the pressure drops below the cycling threshold, nowhere near the high capacity of small-bore rigs. Furthermore, this is a specialized mechanical engine. Some operators note that the magazine feeding requires precise ammo selection, meaning you must test your slug profiles before trusting it blindly in the backcountry. But for a self-contained, rapid-fire semi-auto that never touches a gunpowder cartridge, it is an absolute beast. The next platform solves the one problem every hunter with a single shot has ever cursed in the field. Let's move on. At number 7, we look at the crossbow that answers the oldest complaint in traditional archery. You only get one shot. This is the Excalibur Twin Strike, a rugged recurve powerhouse that keeps 2 arrows loaded simultaneously on independent flight tracks. Its patented dual-fire technology utilizes a single, highly engineered trigger assembly housing 2 separate sears. Pull the trigger once, and the top rail releases. Pull the exact same trigger a second time, and the bottom rail indexes and fires, requiring absolutely zero recocking, zero flipping switches, and zero fumbling in the blind. Each carbon arrow leaves the rail at a verified 360 feet per second, unleashing roughly 100 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Because Excalibur tuned this platform for absolute synchronization, both tracks hold a tighter than 1-inch group at 30 yards. 100 foot-pounds behind a hunting broadhead drives clean through the vitals of heavy big-game animals at sensible ranges. And if your first shot deflects off a branch, your follow-up lethal punch is already resting on the sear. The mandatory trade-off here is physical mass and geometry. Because of the over-under dual-rail architecture and heavy-duty recurve limbs, this platform pushes 12 pounds fully rigged and is noticeably front-heavy. Furthermore, because it relies on traditional recurve limbs rather than high-velocity mechanical cams, it gives up some long-range speed to hyper-compact compound crossbows. But for a weapon that guarantees a true, instant-second shot with absolute recurve reliability, it stands completely alone in the archery market. From mechanical tension, our next spot jumps straight into the most computerized airgun ever built. Let's move on. At number 6, we enter the digital frontier with the smartest weapon on this list. This is the Daystate Delta Wolf, an electronically controlled, touchscreen-driven PCP air rifle that turns high-pressure physics into pure computer science. In its high-power .30 caliber configuration, this platform utilizes a specialized solenoid-driven valve system called mapped compensation technology. Instead of a traditional mechanical spring and hammer, an onboard microchip computes the exact microsecond duration of the valve opening for every single shot. Coupled with an advanced electronic chronograph integrated inside the shroud base, the rifle reads the velocity of the projectile and automatically adjusts the power on the fly, delivering up to a shattering 130 foot-pounds of raw muzzle energy. That is more than enough lethal force for deer-sized game at moderate ranges. Using the tactile touchscreen on the stock, you can instantly tune the digital brains of this rifle to match your exact slug weight, target distance, or preferred shot count. It delivers match-grade, surgical accuracy because the electronics eliminate the velocity variances that plague standard mechanical air guns. The honest catches here are modern liabilities. This is a highly sophisticated electronic engine. It relies on a lithium-ion battery package you have to keep charged. It demands a constant high-pressure 4,500 psi fill, and all that digitized precision comes at a staggering flagship price tag. It is the ultimate thinking hunter's air rifle. At number 5, we have absolute proof that the simplest crossbow architecture still hits the hardest where it counts. This is the Excalibur Rev X, a rugged recurve powerhouse that completely skips complex mechanical cams and cables to deliver pure, bomb-proof reliability in the backcountry. Don't let the streamlined recurve profile fool you. This platform launches a standard 350-grain carbon bolt at a blistering 400 feet per second, hammering targets with over 124 foot-pounds of raw kinetic energy. That is more deep tissue cutting force than almost any vertical bow on the market, built to smoke clean through the vitals of any big game animal on the continent. Excalibur's entire engineering philosophy shines in this rig. Keep the mechanism dead simple, so there is virtually nothing to fail 1,000 miles from a pro shop, then make it brutally accurate. It features an integrated Charger EXT crank system that cocks the platform with minimal physical effort, and allows you to safely decock at the end of a hunt without firing a live arrow straight into the dirt. Tipping the scales right around 9 pounds fully rigged, it carries naturally like a traditional scoped deer rifle. Next, we hand the hunting arrow over to high-pressure compressed air and nearly double its velocity. Let's move on. At number 4, we look at a lethal hybrid platform that fires full-sized arrows using nothing but high-pressure air. This is the Benjamin Pioneer Airbow. Instead of using traditional limbs and a string, this system allows you to slide a specialized 375-grain carbon arrow directly over an internal pressurized spigot tube. When you release the hammer off a 3,000 psi fill, a massive burst of air drives the arrow downrange at a blistering 450 feet per second, unleashing over 168 foot-pounds of deep tissue cutting force. Because the pneumatic pressure pushes the arrow from the front of the insert inside the shaft, rather than a string snapping it violently from the rear, the arrow experiences zero Archer's paradox and zero structural flex. It leaves the platform perfectly straight and stays straight, delivering match-grade accuracy that routinely drops massive big game well past 50 yards. Operationally, it utilizes a top-mounted bolt-action handle to cock the internal hammer spring, allowing for fast, seamless follow-up shots in the field compared to a bulky crossbow. The honest trade-off here is pressure regulation and acoustics. Because this system is unregulated, you get up to 8 lethal shots per fill, but only the first 3 will deliver that absolute peak, flat shooting velocity before the pressure curve drops. But for raw power, speed, and rapid archery reloads wrapped into one streamlined package, it sits in a class of its own. Our next platform is the fastest select-fire weapon of its kind ever built. At number 3, we have the fastest crossbow. The 10-point Nitro 505 launches a 400-grain hunting arrow at a mind-bending 505 feet per second, a benchmark that was pure science fiction just a few years ago, unleashing a massive 227 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Its aggressive reverse draw design, coupled with the patented RX7 cam system, rings out a longer, hyper-efficient power stroke than anything before it. The result is an arrow that maintains lethal momentum out to ethical extended distances, flying with a trajectory flat enough to easily forgive minor ranging errors inside 40 yards. But don't expect a quiet shot. Driving limbs to these extreme velocities generates a violent mechanical crack that is noticeably louder than standard low-velocity bows. To manage that massive tension, 10-point integrated their premier ACU slide system, allowing you to cock and safely decock the platform with minimal physical effort and zero risk of a runaway handle. The mandatory catches here are investment and upkeep. It demands a serious premium price tag, and it requires proprietary, heavy-duty carbon arrows, that are both expensive and incredibly easy to splinter if you commit the mistake of stacking them in the exact same target hole. And at the end of the day, it is still a traditional crossbow layout. You get one single devastating shot, and then you have to crank it back. From the fastest arrow on our list, we move to a platform that completely resets the boundaries of high-pressure air. Let's move on. At number 2, we look at a genuine mechanical milestone, the only production .50 caliber semi-automatic air rifle in the world. This is the Bintac T50 Extreme. It cycles a massive half-inch lead slug, indexes the next round off a 6-shot rotary magazine, and resets the system instantly through a rugged blowback action, requiring 0 bolt manipulation, 0 cocking levers, and 0 delays. When dialed to its maximum output, this dual-tank atmospheric engine hammers targets with up to a shattering 700 foot-pounds of raw kinetic energy. Think about that. Traditional big-bore firearm force, delivered in rapid-fire semi-auto, from a tactical platform that folds down to just over 20 inches. It is purpose-built for heavy wild boar and dense brush recovery scenarios where an immediate, devastating second and third shot is the difference between an ethical harvest and a dangerous tracking line. The half-inch wide bore crushes a massive permanent cavity through vitals with absolute authority. The honest trade-offs here are heavy engineering realities, because dumping 700 foot-pounds of energy while simultaneously cycling a massive 50 caliber blowback bolt consumes an immense volume of air. You only get about 6 to 12 full-power shots off a maximum 4,500 psi fill before the pressure drops below the cycling floor. But for a self-contained, rapid-fire tactical engine, nothing else on Earth can match its ballistic footprint. And our number 1 spot does something simpler and much harder. And at number 1, we finish with the absolute hardest-hitting air rifle on this entire list. This is the Hatsan Pile Driver, a devastating .50 caliber big-bore bullpup engineered for one single purpose: delivering maximum kinetic destruction through compressed air. By utilizing an inline valve design, this platform drives a heavy, precision-cast lead slug to produce over 800 foot-pounds of raw muzzle energy, crushing the ballistic output of a standard .44 Magnum revolver without using a single grain of gunpowder. The pile driver fills to an extreme 300 bar pressure tier inside a 480 cubic centimeter carbon fiber bottle. Because it utilizes a compact bullpup configuration, it manages to wrap a massive 27-inch match-grade barrel inside a highly maneuverable 33-inch overall frame, wringing every single bit of thermodynamic velocity out of the expanding air column. This is projectile mass taken to the absolute mechanical limit. Pushing a half-inch wide solid slug at subsonic hunting velocities means its terminal physics skip hydrostatic shock entirely, relying instead on high sectional density to plow a deep, massive structural crush channel straight through vitals. State legal for big game apex hunting across North America, it has verified, documented drops on massive feral hogs, mature whitetail, and the largest game animals on the continent. And that's the full breakdown of 17 weapons that prove one simple truth: serious power is no longer limited to gunpowder. But here's what matters more than anything else: capability means nothing without responsibility. These are powerful systems that demand respect, proper handling, and full awareness of local laws before they are ever used or even purchased. Now I want to hear from you. Which platform surprised you the most, and which one would you actually trust in a real-world scenario? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next breakdown goes even deeper into gear most people don't even realize exists. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.